G'day, Glenn Morris here from the Smart Energy Lab. And I've got something exciting to talk about today. We've been testing the new Solis 50 kilowatt hybrid inverter here at the lab and using it to expand the amount of storage as an augmentation to our existing microgrid. So let me tell you a bit more about it. Now, the model number is the Solis S6-EH3P 50K-H-AU, and the AU matters because it's compliant with Australian standards. It's a three-phase, high-voltage energy storage inverter designed for efficiency, flexibility, and robust performance. Whether you're looking to maximise your solar energy use, as we are, because we didn't have enough storage, and our 68 kilowatt tracker that's connected by 4 strings to it was often, prior to this, being curtailed because there just wasn't enough storage. So it also can provide backup, 50 kilowatts of backup, which is pretty awesome. And it's got some really cutting edge features, which I'll go into in more detail in a bit. So first up, power capacity. The inverter delivers a whopping 50 kilowatts of rated output power with a maximum apparent power of 50 kVA. It supports 200% DC-AC ratio. Now, that means it can handle up to 100 kilowatts of PV. Yeah, because it can sing and dance. It can charge its batteries and invert and create AC power at the same time. So it really is great to have lots of solar on this unit. So it's really perfect for large solar arrays. It's got 160% overload capacity for 2 seconds. So in backup mode, for instance, even though it's a 50 kilowatt inverter, it can ramp up to 160% of that for those short bursts like motor starts. It's really designed to handle those surge without breaking into a sweat. Now, battery compatibility, that's really important. What batteries does it work with? Well, performance is really important when it comes to batteries, and the inverter works with high voltage lithium batteries. So we've connected it to we've got 8 stacks of 17 Pylon Tech power cubes, and that gives us something close to 800 kilowatt hours of storage. We haven't quite fully built it out yet. We're around the 400 mark at the moment, but that's plenty of storage. And we're running up around 700 volts, which is just perfect for a 3-phase inverter. Though it'll accept voltages from 150 all the way up to 800 volts. Now, one of the special features, I did say there's some really cool features about this inverter, is its dual battery inputs. It can actually manage 2 separate battery systems from different manufacturers at different voltages. And therefore it can be great for an upgrade. You start with one port with connecting your battery system to battery port number 1, and later on you might upgrade and there's different models available. No problem, you can add it to battery port number 2. And we're using it here actually because we've got batteries at different states of charge, because we're introducing some batteries which have been in storage. So that balance is really useful. You can also parallel them to give them the 2 inputs act as one big input. And something I noticed, which was kind of nice, is that even though I've got 2 separate battery systems, it tries to equalize them. So when it sees that one is at 40% SOC and others at 30% SOC, it'll give a little bit more bias to charging the 30% one to bring them up to the same level when they're fully charged. Now, it's also, its PV to battery efficiency is really amazing, 98.5%. I mean, that's industry leading, really amazing. So, key features, I did say that it's approved for Australia, which means it meets AS/NZS 4777 Part 2 2020. That's really important for connecting to the grid. But this can also work in off-grid mode. It's got generator ports too. So the backup port supports unbalanced loads. What does that mean? Well, if you've got a 3-phase inverter, you can actually have just 1 phase drawing power, or 2 or 3, or uneven amounts of power of single-phase loads on those different phases. So that's pretty cool. And it can switch to backup power in under 10 milliseconds. Now that's virtually uninterruptible. You wouldn't even see a light flick. It's got a maximum AC pass-through current of 144 amps. Whoa! So it can really power some big appliances, even when the grid's available, well beyond its 50 kilowatt rating. So it's great for those heavy-duty applications. Now it comes with smart monitoring. On the tech side, real-time battery monitoring from remote is really important. So I'm using an app on my phone and also through a web app, and I can not only monitor, but I can control it. But one of the things I really like is that it's got a built-in 7-inch LCD display, and with Bluetooth as well. So I can just walk up to it, see what it's doing, program it from standing in front of it without having to break into a sweat and get my phone out and connect to the app, etc. It's also IP66 rated. It's got a cooling fan so it can operate in a high range of temperatures from minus 25 degrees Celsius right up to 60, and at altitudes up to 4,000 metres. Now, that should do for Australia. I don't think we've got any mountains bigger than that. So, in short, the Solis 50 kilowatt hybrid inverter combines high power, smart battery management, rugged reliability, making it a top-tier choice for commercial or industrial energy needs. Anyway, for more details, I'll put links to the datasheet and Solis's website below. But I want to tell you a bit more about how we're using the actual inverter here at the Smart Energy Lab. Let's go and check that out. But what we've done here is something I hadn't really planned. I thought of it as a grid forming system for our off-grid microgrid system, but actually what turned out to work really well is AC coupling it to an existing small grid forming system. Now, why would I do that? Well, the advantage with AC coupling is if you turn off the coupled device, it doesn't have an impact on the supply. The supply is created by the grid forming system. So you still have, in our case, a 3-phase 50 hertz microgrid, but the addition of the 50 kilowatt hybrid inverter, AC coupled onto it, gives us more storage and more renewables. So we've put this array here, which is, there's a couple of these, 68 kilowatts of tracking solar, and it's got currently 4 times 80 kilowatt hour usable battery stacks connected to it. So what's that? 320 kilowatt hours of storage currently connected to the Solis 50 kilowatt hybrid. That gives us a lot more storage. The original microgrid system was 152 kilowatt hours, and so now it's kind of semi-retired. It basically provides a grid forming voltage, and so it's a voltage source, and the Solis 50 kilowatt hybrid is now the current source for all the loads. So that's pretty cool. And I don't know if you can hear it over the wind, but the tracking system is moving right now, finding the optimum orientation for this time of the day. But anyway, I want to show you something up close about the 50 kilowatt hybrid Solis inverter. Let's go and check it out. But first, we've got to jump on my scooter. Yep, electric everything. Well, behind these big green doors, in what we affectionately call the boat shed, is a pretty impressive battery system and an even more impressive inverter. And today, I'm in one of the labs with my new toy, the 50 kilowatt Solis hybrid inverter. Well, it's not a toy by any means. In fact, it's been a very exciting addition to our microgrid system here at the Smart Energy Lab. So we've paired it with the Pylon PowerQ batteries. We've got about 800 kilowatt hours of batteries here, and they're in 2 stacks. And I'll talk about why they're in 2 separate voltage parallel stacks. Now, the Solis 50 kilowatt hybrid inverter is a 3-phase high voltage energy storage inverter, and it has backup power. So it's got a 50 kilowatt AC output rating with a 200% DC to AC ratio. What does that mean? It means you can put 100 kilowatts of solar on this unit. We've got, I think, 68 kilowatts at the moment, and it's got plenty of headroom. So I'd like to actually pump that up a bit. It also has 160% overload capacity. So say the grid fails and you're in backup mode, for 2 seconds, it can start loads up to 160% of its rated power. So really, really good. It works with a whole range of high voltage lithium batteries in a range of 150 right up to 800 volts. So we're running at about 750 volts with these Pylon Techs. Now, it has this dual battery feature, which I've never seen before. It means you can actually have different battery systems on each input. So I said we've got 2 stacks of batteries here. They often are at different states of charge because we're doing some testing on these batteries. So I can have one bank of batteries at 60% state of charge and the other one at 50% state of charge. Not a problem. They can even be different voltages and different technologies. That means we have a maximum charge and discharge rate of 35 kilowatts per battery port with a total charge current of up to 140 amps. You can actually parallel those ports too. If you only want to have one big bank, you can parallel them to get the full 140 amps out of a single battery bank. It's got a really high efficiency, 98.5% of its PV to battery efficiency. And that's great, particularly if you're using energy at nighttime where it's going to go into the battery and then you're going to take it out again. You want that high efficiency. It's compliant to AS/NZS 4777 Part 2, the 2020 edition, so it can be connected to the grid. Now, this unit can be used for things like peak shaving. It can basically you set your maximum demand from the grid, and it can shave off any surplus above that from the loads that require it. But it's also got another sneaky feature. It's got 3 AC ports. It's got grid, it's got backup, and it's got a smart port. Now, what's a smart port? Well, a smart port can be configured as a generator input port with full generator controls, or it can be AC coupled, or it could even be a controlled load. So that smart port gives it a lot of flexibility. Now, the backup port even supports unbalanced loads. Now, what's all that about? Well, this is a 3-phase inverter, right? But you might be running single-phase loads off that backup port. Now, balanced means that they have to consume the same amount of power. Well, that's very unlikely when you've got single-phase loads. So it's not a problem. It can switch to backup super quick, like 10 milliseconds. You will not even see the lights flick during that process. And it's got a maximum AC pass-through current of 144.4 amps. That means it can take grid power and battery power and provide all of that to your loads. So it can really pump the power into the loads. It's got some great monitoring via either an app on your phone, iOS or Android. It's also got a really nice display. I like this display a lot because it allows me to program the unit, to monitor the unit, everything I can do from that front display. You can also do it from the app and even, which is my favorite, from my desk using the web app. I don't have to come out here in the cold and go and change things. Now, why would I want to change things? Well, we've been testing this inverter a lot, trying it in all different arrangements. And so often I'm putting it into different configurations of support for our microgrid. At the moment, it's in an AC coupled mode. That means it supports loads on the microgrid, supporting an existing grid forming inverter. Now that 7-inch LCD display, it's beautiful, it's color, and there's Bluetooth, so you don't have to connect it to Wi-Fi to actually monitor this thing. The inverter is of course IP66 rated, so you can put it outside. It's fan cooled, so it can work in a really wide range of temperatures, like -25 to positive 60 degrees Celsius. So this unit is really built for Australian conditions and great for CNI or off-grid applications. I'm super excited. I want to show you a little bit more about how we're using the Solis 50 kilowatt hybrid inverter. Okay, let me do a quick diagram, a little SLD on how we've used the Solis 50 kilowatt hybrid plus the big battery system to augment the amount of storage we have on the microgrid. So it all starts with what we have. We have a battery system. We call it our microgrid because it was our essential microgrid system, so we call this the microgrid, and it's a 150 kilowatt hour battery, so 150 kilowatt hours of storage, and it's supplying 3-phase 45 kilowatts of power. So we've got 3-phase system here. It's a power chain. Okay, so there's our power chain, and that's 45 kilowatts continuous rated. Okay. Now, it supplies all of the loads on the microgrid, which actually includes 7 homes, 6 labs, 8 EV charging stations, 2 DC fast chargers, a lodge community building sleeping 20 people, and a teaching space called the Octagon. All of that is hanging off here, loads. Now, that doesn't look like very much, but a lot of the homes have their own solar and battery. So these homes have solar and battery. That means they're somewhat autonomous, and so effectively they're using the microgrid as the grid, as a sort of a last resort for energy. So we've got ×7 of those. We've also got, like I said, a lot of EV charging. So we've got EVSEs up to 22 kilowatts, some of them, but mostly they'll be running at about 7.5 to 11 kilowatts. So that's ×8. And we've got 2 DC fast chargers. And one of them is a 50 kilowatt and one of them's a 25 kilowatt bidirectional, by the way. That's pretty cool. But we can't use the full 50 kilowatts of the 50 kilowatt charger because that's still our limit. So how did we add more capacity to this? Well, we did what's known as AC coupling. So we brought in parallel the Solis 50 kilowatt hybrid inverter. And it's got its own big battery. As I said, it's potentially up to 800 kilowatt hours, so approximately 800. And this is rated at 50 kilowatts. But how does this work? Well, we've connected it to the grid port. So it's a hybrid inverter, so it has a grid port, whereas this is the standalone port, SA for short, of the grid forming system. And the way that this inverter knows how much to contribute is done with CTs. Basically, we've got a CT around here, and the CT measures the amount of energy flow that the microgrid is drawing, so all of these loads. And whenever it's drawing 10 kilowatts, the first one to try and supply that is the Solis. So the Solis tries to jump in there and provide the 10 kilowatts to run the loads, or the 50 or whatever. This is really here just as a voltage source to provide a synchronization, frequency and voltage for this to synchronize with, because this is effectively in grid connect mode, whereas this is in standalone mode. So this is AC coupling, more storage. So we started with 150, we've added another 800, nearly a megawatt hour. I like the sound of that. The other thing we've done is connected solar to here. So we've got 68 kilowatts of PV in 4 strings. And that means it's going to charge the batteries and supply the loads. Now, one of the things I liked playing with was how I balanced those 2 different needs. Do I want to charge the batteries first and then supply the loads, or vice versa, or export to the grid? All of those are configuration settings. So what I did, I realized this battery still needs to be charged, but it can only be charged from this solar. Well, actually there's solar on the houses as well. So what I set is that this is going to export first. The first 10 kilowatts of surplus solar is going to go to recharge the microgrid. The rest of it will supply the loads. So that's pretty cool. Set it to export first, so anything going in that direction is considered export. Anything coming in this direction is considered consumption. Pretty cool. So I have found working with the Solis 50 kilowatt hybrid really interesting. Almost anything I can think of, it can do. The programming features are great. The fact that I can do it from my desk just over here, I don't have to go out to one of the labs to configure it. The monitoring on the app, I can be anywhere in the world and I can monitor the system and control it. So a really great, large hybrid inverter. Anyway, thanks for watching. Check it. Well, I thought I'd just finish with a bit of ASMR of the installation of this inverter with my wonderful team, Jerry and Alan from the Greenhouse Effect. They had to run 4-core 35mm cable to the main switchboard. Neither of them had seen one of these inverters before, but it was a piece of cake. Quick check of the manual, make sure the clearances remit. And we did forget to put the handles on. There's handles that go temporarily at the top of the unit on the sides to make it really easy to lift it into place. I had to get my son in to help as well. Since we've got 2 battery strings, we had to install 2 main battery isolators and overcurrent protection in its own enclosure. All of the cabling and duct. So there you go. That's the installation of the Solis 50 kilowatt hybrid. I'm excited.